Fresh white ropes coming in hot, it's Maple Sumo! Welcome back to Maple Sumo, everyone. It is Haru Basho, day 4. Let's start with our Kyujo update. As expected, Onosato has pulled out that left shoulder dislocation, still giving him a lot of trouble. We saw that 0-3 start, and that's just not acceptable from a Yokozuna. So he's out. Hopefully he's able to get a little more significant rest. I'd like him to come back before the end of the Basho, but strictly speaking, I think it's best if he just rests and comes back strong next time. Starting the day off, we have Asahakiryu versus Fujiryoka. Both men start the day at 2-1. An early throat attack from Fujiryoka was sunk pretty deep, but it was weathered and eventually turned and thrust down by Asahakiryu. So good showing from him. Fujiryoka, you'll notice, still isn't able to wear the even the top knot style. He's still got the long hair there. It's just refusing to grow. But he's still young and got time. He's a little bit older to be making his Sanyaku debut with his stablemate there, but so far he's shown a lot of aggression. I think he has still a very strong chance of finishing with a winning record here. But he's 2-2 now, and Asahakiryu is up to 3-1. Koto Eiho next up against Kinbozan. Our first, I'm going to call it a true Henka of the day. He hops to the left immediately, slaps down Kinbozan off the Tachiai. Both men are now 2-2. Mitakayumi versus Nishiki Fuji. Both men starting at 2-1. Mitakayumi had early energy in the start of this Basho, but right off the hop, Nishiki Fuji goes for a quick slap and then in and forces Mitakayumi out. He's looked lifeless the last couple days. I don't know what's going on with him. I still genuinely feel like he has not fully recovered from his COVID issue, and it's just kind of a permanent plague on his career now. Next up, our flying monkey Tobizaru versus the other new debut Fuji Seiyun. Tobizaru gets in with a strong inside grip and attempts a throw that Fuji Seiyun manages to counter well, and then follows up immediately for the push out, going up to 3-1. Tobizaru down at 1-3. Next is Chiyoshoma versus Asanoyama. Chiyoshoma has not beaten Asanoyama in their 3 prior attempts, and you see why in this one. Asanoyama just roots himself right off the hop and then throws this guy to the clay again, and both guys are now 2-2. Asanoyama doesn't look like quite the immovable object that he did when he was up at Ozeki, but he's still very stable, very strong. I think just, even with him being a little bit older now, he still has a very good chance to make it up to the Sanyaku in the next 1 or 2 tournaments here and stay in that upper level for quite a while. And then, speaking of Asanoyama, his stablemate Asakiryu was up against Oshoumi. Asakiryu right off the hop gets a deep inside left grip. He keeps his hands on the belt and then eventually converts that into a beautiful Shitatanage. He's now at 3-1, and Oshoumi has yet to get a win at 0-4. Next is Toki Hayate versus the Russian Roga. Toki Hayate took a rough forearm bash right off the Tachiai, and Roga seemed to be in complete control. But then right at the rope, he manages to get a reversal in there and his own Shitatanage to put both guys at 2-2. Our first of the Ukrainians, Shishi, is up against Tamawashi. This is about 1,471 for Tamawashi, making him the all-time leader for Makuuchi bouts. He had good Tsupari off the front. Shishi looked like one of those inflatable tube flailing, car rental guys there. But both were unstable, and right at the edge, Shishi was able to pivot just a little bit to the side and redirect him with a weak-looking Shitatanage. Technically, it's a Shitatanage, but it was really just kind of like a flailing little grasp at the edge there. So Shishi now evens out at 2-2, and Tamawashi's still looking for a win this tournament. Speaking of wins, undefeated Gonoyama came up against Shodai. Gonoyama's been great off the Tachiai, hitting hard and following up, but this time he was sort of uncontrolled and loose, and that's where our Lord of Chaos shines, and he was able to keep him from getting a good forward momentum and thrust him down. So both guys are now 3-1. Daisho, looking for his first win, comes up against unbeaten Ura, the crowd favorite. There was, the touchy eye from Daisho was non-existent. He just kind of stood up. But Ura is not a man exactly known for, despite speed, putting much effort, much force behind it. So Daisho stayed firmly rooted, was able to parry Ura's sort of flailing Supari multiple times while slowly moving forward and closing the gap, and eventually he just parried well and slapped Ura off balance to get his first win and hand Ura his first loss. Oshoma comes up against Takanosho's perfect record. Takanosho has yet to lose against this guy and continues his perfect streak here. Takanosho seems to love double digits, whether it's wins or losses. And this time it seems like he might be going for wins. Oshoma, in this case, actually gave himself the loss. I couldn't see why, but for some reason he bent his right knee when absorbing a hit from Takanosho and then put his knee on the clay. Just weird. I think he was just weirdly outstretched, and the angle of the attack just put him on this weird downward trajectory that he wasn't able to recover from. So next, Hirado Umi's luscious lips came up against Ichi Yamamoto's cute baby face. Both men started at 2-1. Hirado Umi, his biggest weapon is his speed, and he used that to great effect here. He darts inside immediately. Ichi Yamamoto's got these big, long arms that he loves to get going, and he just wasn't able to get them extended and get the distance that he needs to get the thrust going, and so he was just quickly shoved out. So he drops to 2-2, and Hirado Umi is at 3-1. Next is a battle of former high school teammates Koto Shoho and Oho. Both these guys were at Saitama Sakai High School together, and this was an absolute brawl. Just a huge Supari battle in the middle of the ring, back and forth, back and forth. Eventually, Oho starts getting the advantage with, I think he just has more body mass, or the way his body's just kind of I don't want to say laid out, but the where he carries his weight gives him a little bit more stability and force behind his thrusts, and shoves Kotonosho hard, who is at the bales, manages to sort of recover, and as Oho is trying to follow up to finish him off, he yanks his right arm, which both off balances Oho and gets his momentum sort of back into the ring, and then is able to turn and just easily slap him down. So he stays at a perfect 4-0. Oho still has only the one win this tournament. Wakamoto Haru was looking for his first win against Atami Fuji. Both these men are Kobosubi, and they have had the typical rough start for having to face the entire Sanyaku above them already. This was not a real contest. Wakamoto Haru got walked straight out by Atami's size. Atami's a big boy, and I would say he while not maybe an exact math, he looks twice the size of Wakamoto Haru in the ring. Shoves him straight out. He now evens out to 2-2, and Wakamoto Haru, I believe, is 0-4. Next is Kirishima and Wakataka Kage, the brother. Kiri has been 11-4 in the last two tournaments, so he's looking to get his third. If he goes 3 straight of 11-4, it seems to have locked in his Ozeki re-promotion. In this case, he got a left-hand outside grip really early and just sort of corralled Wakataka Kage, completely controlled the movement, and eventually just gently marches him out. So he's now up to 3-1, while Wakataka Kage is down to 1-3. Our Yokozuna hopeful Onishiki was up against Chirano Umi. Now, these guys have fought each other 4 times in the past, and they are dead even. But they haven't fought since Onishiki started his real, rocket up the Banzuke. And you see now in this fight, despite his lower rank, why Chirano's been able to get wins against him, because he was able to destabilize Onishiki, get him out of his low stance, and eventually get side position under that right armpit and crush him out. Now, this was... people watching it said it looked like it should have been a mono E. It was very close because Toronto Umi did go down in the process of taking out Aonishiki. That being said, if you look at the fight, if you watch in slow-mo, not only is there a case for the dead body rule where, like, yeah, Toronto Umi went down, but, like, the fight was already over. You can see the top of Aonishiki's foot touching the clay before Toronto Umi is anywhere close to in trouble. So both men are now 2-2. Could this be the end of his Yokozuna run? I don't think so. This tournament has colloquially it's called like the stormy spring tournament. There's always upsets and chaos in this tournament, especially today. I don't think whoever wins this one is going to have like a clean 14-1 record or 15-0. It's going to be a 13-2. I would not be shocked if it's a 12-3 winner. So I think if he can bounce back like he does, not give up another loss tomorrow, and then keep that momentum going, he still has a very real shot of winning this thing, or at least getting the equivalent performance to get himself the rope. Next, Yoshinofuji got the free win against the withdrawn Onosato. Yoshinofuji, a young guy, I'm sure he enjoys the free win, but he also seems like a guy who is hungry to actually fight some of these guys. So, take him when you can get him, get rested up, and come back strong tomorrow. Our second last bout of the day is Takayasu Papa Bear versus the Ozeki Kodozakura. Both men coming in undefeated, 3-0. Takayasu has a slight historical advantage against him. He's 8 wins out of 14, so 8-6. And in this case, Kodozakura kind of got, I don't want to say dog walk, but he definitely got sunned, He could not push Takayasu back. Takayasu got in with a strong left-hand grip, hung onto him, and just used leverage and turned him, yanked him around a bit, and then it was able to just pull him basically in front of him and get into the side, and then just quickly force him out, staying unbeaten. This is... Okay, I'm not a superstitious person. I don't want to give the impression that I'm worried about saying it, but I've seen too many times where Takayasu looks great in the first week, starts out really strong, maybe 7-8 wins in a row, and then drops one that he shouldn't have and gets inside of his own head and takes himself out of contention before finishing with a good record, just not enough to win. I really want this guy to get his first championship. Like, that would be the perfect, like, near cap on his career. I mean, he was Ozeki for a huge amount of time. I don't know if he's got the ability to get back to that rank despite being up in the Sanyaku right now. I think he's more comfortable at like the Sekiwake type rank. But this is a guy that I want it for him. He's been such a great wrestler for so long, and he's been awesome to watch and just like a good sort of ambassador for the sport. And I hope he can finally get that one show that's a little bit of him. So we'll see. And then finally, our cap to the day is Hoshoryu unbeaten versus Fujinokawa. These guys have also never fought each other before, but in this one, Fuji really showed the speed that he has. As the smaller wrestler, he got in very close, put a ton of pressure on Hoshoryu, and then immediately darted back and slapped him down to give Hoshoryu his first loss of the tournament. And funnily enough, that is Fujinokawa's second Kinboshi in a row. Kinboshi, again, being when a rank-and-file Megashira beats Yokozuna. He moves to 2-2, and both of his wins are against the Yokozuna. Now, there's a slight asterisk against Onosato. Obviously, Onosato is injured, but I'm not going to take it away from him. Like, Onosato was in there trying his hardest despite the injury, and given the size disparity, he honestly could have taken it anyways. So good on Fujinokawa, getting a couple of awesome wins. A nice little pay bump's going to be great, and we'll see how he does for the rest of the tournament. But good stuff for a young guy facing a tough set of wrestlers off the start of the tournament. Anyways, tomorrow we'll be back with day 5, and hopefully we continue to see wins out of our boy Takayasu. See you then. Maple Sumo is a no-plot, only lore production.